Yeah, why don't we? Would you ladies like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Wendy Warner. I'm the troop support specialist in the Southeast area, which is basically Plattsmouth to York to Fairbury to Falls City.
Cool. It looks like we've got Zoe next. Zoe, are you still with us?
I am.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I have a split role, so I spend part of my time on the member support team. So if you call in to the customer care line, you might talk to me. And then I also spend part of my time offering extra help to our troop support specialists on the troop support team. And I'm based out of Omaha.
Thank you, Zoe. And Pam.
Hi, I am troop support specialist in part of the Northeast area and first year volunteer support.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It looks like the ladies that are joining us today, we have Brenda, Jamie, and Jessica. Welcome all. Would you ladies like to share where you're from?
And we'll go with Brenda. Oh, and Brenda's typing. Brenda says Beatrice.
Wonderful, Brenda. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a troop leader here in Omaha.
Thank you, Jessica.
And Jamie? Oh, Jamie says La Vista, Papillion, and Ralston.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again, ladies, for being on our first call. Our first town hall, excuse me. So we are going to do the town halls again every month. And we had feedback last year that we received from the attendees. Many of you ladies attended last year, and if you gave us feedback, we really appreciate it. So we're going to try to dive a little deeper and hit some more subjects once a month. There is a link that I'm going to put in the chat. We've also tried to post it on our Facebook pages, but we are doing Sign Up Genius, and you can actually go in and you can sign up for as many of them as you want right away. That way you can have the dates out and kind of plan ahead of time. So that's how that works out this year. And that tells you all of the dates and when we're going to be having them, obviously what we're going to be talking about. And today I did mention that we're doing back to troop and behavior management. So back to troop meetings are pretty incredibly important because you have to start off the year with a good, we like to say you have to start off the year with good organization. I know my organization is not always the best, but it's easier to let the parents and girls know what's going on ahead of time. So they know when the meetings are going to be, they know what the plan is, they know what you guys are going to do. It also gives the girls some time to decide what they're going to do if that is age appropriate, because we do want the meetings to be girl-led as much as they can be. So that's girls voting on they're going to take field trips, what badges they're going to work on, what journey they're going to do, so on and so forth. We did have I'm sorry, Joanne, go ahead. Oh, I guess not. Sorry. We did have a couple of great plans that came forward from leaders. And the first plan is a recording that we are going to share. Unfortunately, Rose, the leader, is not able to be with us tonight. So we had her, we had Wendy interview her, and I will get that recording brought up, Wendy, if you wouldn't mind introducing who Rose is.
Sure, it's actually in the introduction too, but Rose
Oh,
is a service.
Okay,
She's a service unit manager in service unit 220. She also leads 2 troops, a junior troop and a daisy troop, and is one of the council's outdoor trainers. She was a Girl Scout as a youth. And just maybe preface it with, it's she shared with us her way of doing a back to troop planning meeting. It's clearly just one way of doing it. So, I mean, you can either replicate it or you can take bits and pieces of it. And of course, if you are doing something now that works for you, keep on doing it.
okay, give me just a second. I am working to share my screen. Maybe. Sorry, let me try that again. Okay.
Do you have the video on one of your screens, Tyne?
I do. I just had to find that includes on button.
Yep.
Okay, so here.
But the very first meeting.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Wendy Warner. I'm the troop support specialist in the southeast area. And tonight we have a special guest with us for our town hall meeting. Under the theme of Back to Troop, we have Rose Munderlow, who actually has a couple different roles here at the council. She's a Girl Scout leader to a Daisy and Cadet troop, and also a service unit manager out of Service Unit 220, which is like the Hickman area, Norris School District, south and east of Lincoln. And she's also an outdoor trainer with the council. And so Rose is going to talk to us about her approach to girl-led planning for the year. When you get to Back to Troop and you're bringing the girls together and the parents and planning the year, which badges, activities they're going to do. And so this is just one approach. I think a lot of people have different approaches that are also successful. But if you are new, or if you're looking for new ideas, this will just be one different way, or one way that maybe you could take something from. So with that, I will hand it over to Rose, and I just really appreciate her being with us tonight.
Wendy, like she said, my name is Rose Munderlow. Yeah, so the Back to Troop planning, it looks really different with the Daisy girls than it does with my older cadets. And as I've gone, I don't know if we've done the exact same thing any given year, but we've certainly used some similar things and variations on things. Because the girls definitely do benefit from some traditions and experience planning. So with Daisies, we do a lot of sticker voting, and sometimes they need parent help because they can't read always. I think our very first year, we just started with the Daisy petals. But by the time we were through fall product and cookie season, they had kind of an idea of what kinds of activities they wanted to do. And we definitely look beyond just what are we doing in the next couple of meetings. And we're planning all year. So at fall product season, we're, getting some of those fall activities on, definitely our winter activities, all the way up through the end of cookie season. And during cookie season, we're planning for getting all the way through the rest of our fall activities and into the next year. But the very first meetings we definitely use for some badge planning for the year. And that's true both the daisies and with the older girls. Some methods we use, sticker voting is really popular with my girls. They love stickers. So how that looks is we'll go on to the MyGS. Me or my co-leader will go onto MyGS. And in the VTK, we go to the Badge Explorer. And for the daisies, we just click that we search daisy and it'll bring up everything and print that whole thing out. And the parents can go around with the kids. And it doesn't just print the picture of the badge, but also what kinds of steps it asks for. So they get an idea of what kinds of activities they're going to be doing. And I'll do the same thing for the cadets on that. We just print out everything, including the journeys, because that's, oh my gosh, those journeys are so good at getting them to think about bigger picture ideas. So they really do enjoy doing those as well. And then we just count how many sticker votes they have on each level. And usually with the bigger girls, I'll also, besides the little stickers, we'll give them a larger sticker and I call it their golden sticker. And if there's something that really interests them, they'll even write their name under it. So we make sure that we address that at a meeting that they're at. But that way, even if somebody else has outvoted them or if other ideas are more popular, each girl gets one badge that they absolutely know is going to be covered no matter what. And that's kind of a nice part about girl-led planning. It can be very group-oriented, but this way we're still making sure that every girl's individual ideas are addressed and everybody gets a say in everything, even if they're not as loud in the group. We do similar things with our activities from fall product and cookie sales. We've done both sticker voting and then we also do some jar voting, but first we have to pick the activities, right? So we will usually send out an email beforehand, having parents remind their kids to be thinking about what kind of activity fun things they want to do, and also what community service projects or areas of interest they may have. And then we'll finish our introduction, saying our promise and law at the meetings, and we'll just sit in a big circle. And maybe the younger girls have paper and crayons because it's hard to sit and just listen. They'll forget their ideas and they forget so quickly. But they can sketch and draw while we're having everybody go around and just saying, okay, what's an idea for a small activity we could do? Could be pumpkin patches, could be going fishing, maybe going for a hike in a new park. Maybe even just playing on a park if they're daisies. That's kind of a fun activity that they really enjoy doing. Maybe it's going to an observatory, all kinds of things like that. And then we go around again for larger ideas. So maybe they want to go on their first overnight camping trip if they're a daisy. For juniors or cadets, that looks like, maybe they want to go to an out-of-state amusement park, or I actually have to file paperwork on that. But that's okay too. And then community service project ideas will go around a third time, and daisies came up with things like, we want to help save the animals, which, okay, yeah, that's broad. Somebody wants to go to the moon. Awesome. And then I'm thinking like observatory. And then the cadets, they're actually starting to come up with like really more complex ideas. And that was one of their questions, like, what can we do differently as cadets that we couldn't do as juniors? And I'm like, well, now we can do, more out-of-state travel. And so now we've got teams even that are planning some different things to present to the troop that they can make decisions about. So then we get all the ideas and we put them on paper, either a poster or we use jar voting sometimes, just depending on what the needs are of the group. And they can either use stickers or with the jar voting, if you've never seen that, we'll put every single idea for the larger or smaller activity and we'll label the jar with the name of the activity and how many packages of cookies that's worth. How much is it going to cost the girls to do? So they know, like, if you want to go do the volunteer Veterans Day parade, that costs 0 cookies. We can do that for free. And they're all like, yes, that's awesome. Little plug out for the Veterans Day parade. Or if we want to go horseback riding, that may be 40 packages of cookies. And if we want to go to an amusement park, With an overnight at a Girl Scout property, they had maybe 170 packages of cookies. And we include travel and admission and food and all of the costs that they're going to have. So that's kind of how we approach that there. But then, they can put their slip of paper that matches the color of that jar. And then that way everybody only gets one vote. We want to make sure that it's equitable at that level, and things like that. And then we just, if it got more votes, it goes higher up on the priority list and we go on down. Then whatever cookie goal that we got to, that's how many of those activities we are including. And so it's kind of nice because it takes a lot of the pressure off of me and my co-leader to come up with these ideas and activities. It's on the girls. If they want to do something, they have to let us know. And yeah, we may, tweak ideas with the younger girls especially, but by the time they're juniors and cadets, they're coming up with some pretty well-formed ideas. And it's just on us to help educate them as to what's practical. They may think, oh, we'll just fly to Florida. Well, okay, let's look at the cost of airfare. Or, what's driving versus airfare and what's the time commitment going to be. So it's just presenting these ideas to them, and then it's on to them to see if they want to sell that many cookies or figure out how we're doing it. But yeah, that's part of Girl Led, and sometimes it's out there and we're not sure what they're going to say, but it makes it exciting and fun for everybody and kind of creates some buy-in with the girls. It's more important to them if it's their idea, and they're going to have fun.
I love how it makes them think analytically.
Yeah. It's exciting. And like I said, you never know what they're going to say. So it's definitely fun.
And I think you touched on how, the planning varies between the daisies and the older girls, the cadets. And so did you talk about, or would you talk about how that cadet planning meeting might happen while the parent meeting is going on?
Sure. So yeah, at Daisy level, we have our parent meeting while the kids are doing crafts, and then the parents will help the Daisies plan. But at the cadets, it looks very different. While they were juniors, our cadets spent a lot of time running their own meetings. They had agendas, especially the second year they were juniors. It was pretty much, okay, here's your list of things to do. And they would go ahead and do it. And then we would report back. But the cadet meeting for this year, for the planning, we gave them their agenda. The first thing they had to do was pick a troop crest, because that was something that was a holdover from last year. They got through the summer. Now they have their troop crest ideas and they presented them to each other and voted. And I think that was just a raise of hands until they came to a consensus. The second thing they did was sticker voting for badges. And then they also worked on creating their troop flag. Since we're now cadets, new crest, new troop flag. They love their troop flag. They bring it with them on all their trips. And so while they were doing that, my co-leader and I were doing our parent meeting. So updating all of our insurance forms, seeing if we needed to do any changes of personnel for our cookie parents, seeing if we needed any different information or travel policies for when we were traveling, making sure that everybody's contact information was up to date so that we were getting the best contacts for the email text chains, and just making sure that all of that stuff was bookkeeping. It's the bookkeeping, a lot of bookkeeping, but it's still stuff that has to be done. There's no need to make the girls sit through that in order to pick their troop crest. They're perfectly capable of those decisions. They've been practicing them for a year. So it was kind of nice to be able to hit the two birds with one stone. And it gives the girls like, yes, we did all of these things. And the Girl Scout who was in charge brought me the list and she goes, here's all of the results. Then we helped them finish voting on their flag, and they were starting to make decisions about where they're staying for next camp out, which the answer is yurts. They're big, super popular. The girls love them. So,
and I don't know if you said this, but you previously told me that this meeting took about 30 minutes. And
the parent side of the meeting took 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
So in that 30-minute time, while we were I had 7 big bullet points. The insurance cards, the permission forms, any staffing changes, we just went through and we got everything done in 30 minutes. And the girls in that 30 minutes managed to identify and vote on their troop crests. And do all of the badge reviews and then sticker voting for the badges and get their flags designed so that when we were finishing up the parent meeting, they were able to present their different flag ideas and then they voted on them. And then we just had the brief discussion about where to stay while we were camping. And, they're actually doing some other activities, but we're going to be far enough away that it made sense to camp instead of driving all the way home. And some of the girls experienced the yurts during summer camp and wanted to share that with everybody else. And everybody thought that that sounded pretty awesome. So the girls also learn a little bit of persuasive speaking when they're leading their own meetings and coming up with these ideas. I would not have thought of the yurts. And they were like, yes, this is what we're going to do. And everybody was just, it's infectious. Like when they bring the energy and I don't have to bring the energy, then it's like, yeah, they're gonna feed off of it and have a great time no matter what. So
Nice. A couple of the things that I took note of that I think makes this successful is the parent involvement. And so getting the information to parents in advance and encourage them to talk to girls, work with girls to help them find out the things that they want to do and what their priorities are. And I think it also works really well for retention. When girls know, especially those cadets, can look forward to like 2 and 3 years out and knowing that each year or at each level they get to do a little more, they get to have a little more responsibility and just more maturity. I think those are golden things that that just really encourage and keep the girls' interest and their involvement.
oh, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't have chosen the things that they chose. That wouldn't have been my thing. And so it's nice to see that, okay, this is what you guys are interested in. This isn't Troop Rose Munderlow, it's we call them the 939. So
Yeah.
they-
So very nice. So Rose, I really appreciate you doing this with us in providing this recording. And like we said, this is just one example of how a younger troop and an older troop may do troop planning and conduct their parent meeting. I'm sure there's a lot of great ideas out there. And so whether you're a new co-leader that just needs some guidance, or if you're a veteran co-leader and you just want to change things up, then you can pick and choose anything within this conversation that works for you. And Rose is generously allowed us to provide her contact information. So at the end of our town hall meeting, and we could definitely take questions and answer to the best of our ability. But Rose has also said that we can connect the two of you. And so we appreciate that. And we appreciate you being with us, Rose.
yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, if you come to the next volunteer retreat, say hi.
Okay. I had the pleasure of meeting Rose at this volunteer retreat, and she talks about it's easier when the kids bring the energy, but I think she definitely has a whole energy of her own that she brings, and she is pretty phenomenal. There is another there's another document that we received about kind of a plan on how to do a back to troop meeting, and it is just typed out. So I'm just going to copy and paste it in the chat. You can read it over. You can pick and choose what you want to do. Obviously, we understand and we do want these troops to be led by you with your creativity, your ambition, and your flair. But I think hearing how other people kind of do things, it helps. You know, we're all a collective and we all have wonderful minds. So I will go ahead and I will put these into the chat here. And then that kind of leads to the second half of the meeting. As soon as I figure out where my chat went. Because I think the numbers are completely off on this. See if they load correctly. Maybe they worked. Okay. No, I think our numbers are kind of off here. But basically, these are things that you want to do. Obviously, these are things that Rose covered: the welcome, the check-in, the attendance. Obviously, we want you to start all your meetings with the Girl Scout promise and the law. But we do have provided for you, we have girl agreements, girl behavior agreements, and parent agreements, which kind of leads into the next topic that we were going to cover in this meeting, which is behavior management. But before we do that, does anybody have any kind of tips or tricks or things that you specifically do that we haven't talked about during your back to troop meeting that you feel would be helpful for the others? Okay, awesome. Joe, I will let you take it away.
Okay, so I also am going to type our co-leader handbook into the chat also. So the second half of this evening is all about behavior management. And so some of you that have been leaders before, we have a new co-leader handbook that we introduced last year. And so some of you might be seeing this for the first time. But in chapter 5 is all about safety, or actually chapter 4 is all about safety. And within safety, there are a couple of pieces of great information. One is a page on guide. It's a guide to managing girl behavior. And then we also have a page on creating a troop agreement, as well as at your parents' meetings, having the girls and the parents sign a code of conduct agreement. And so those agreements are actually in that chapter also for you to be able to use. And so this evening was just really talking about those couple of pages. And so we're just going to start off with managing girl behavior. And so we have just a few steps that we offer in the co-leader handbook, and those are correcting the behavior, having the girl take a break, meeting with the parents or the caregiver, and then if the behavior doesn't change and you need some more support, then it's reaching out to your troop support specialist so that we can offer some guidance and some ideas. And so one of the ways in managing girl behavior is also not just centering on just one individual, but involving the group with changing behavior. And it's really working with them to create a troop agreement. And that's usually good to do at the beginning of the troop year, just to set the tone for the remainder of the year. And so, again, there's 5 steps with troop agreement, and one is explaining to the girls what is a troop agreement. Something that's that the troop is going to agree on. Everyone feels safe and has fun at Girl Scouts, and it should be created each year for growth, development, and new members. And so after explaining that to them, then reviewing the Girl Scout Promise law and the Code of Conduct agreement, so that everyone, it just brings it back to Girl Scouts and in that good feeling. And having the girls in step 3 is just having the girls brainstorm ideas for their own troop agreement. What are things that they want to have in a troop agreement? Like, how do they want to be treated? How do they want to treat others? Working together, being a friend, not a bully, and things like that. Not just necessarily, always raise your hand when someone's speaking, not just that, but all those other things to think about. And then ideally 4 and 5, you're going to create a troop agreement poster where you're going to have the girls share all their ideas on that poster. And then at the end, the girls are going to sign that poster, and then that's the poster that they're going to live by at all of their meetings for the rest of that year. So you might do this each year just to maybe change things up a little bit, and you might have new members come in and want to put a few words in each new year also. So in the link that I put in the chat, it is in chapter 4. And so you're able to use those documents, and then the code of conduct for parents and the code of conduct for girls. You're also able to print those off so that the parents and the girls can each sign their form and all of that. So because it all comes back to peer-to-peer sharing. And so I'm going to ask a few of the wisdom of the crowd. So what are things that you've done to manage girls' behavior? How have you solved behavior issues in your troop? And does anyone want to offer any words of wisdom?
Well, I always have something to say. The main point that in the participants that we have tonight probably would agree. I mean, behavior issues are usually very, very seldom. However, they can impact a troop pretty significantly when they do occur. And so I personally think if there's an issue that starts, eliminating that or addressing it right away is probably one of a better policy. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm sure I don't want to, everyone else has great ideas too, but I mean, I guess my advice would be that if there's an issue that arises, address it right away and don't let it to continue go on.
Yep, no, that's good. That's a good one. Okay. So just a reminder that troop support is here to help also, so that if you do have any problems or concerns, that you even just want to share with us, and just to get some ideas before you maybe even talk to the parents. We're always here to support you and to give you ideas. Most of the troop support staff have either been leaders or have been on staff for more than 10 or 12 years, some even more than 25 years. But we're just here to support you in whatever you do. And so anytime you need anything, we're here to help. I think, does anyone else have anything else to say about Jamie, Jessica, Brenda, anything else to say about managing behavior? Okay,
I would like to jump
ahead.
in for a second,
ahead.
Joe.
Go ahead.
A lot of times if we get the girls vested in it and the girls involved in it, if they're building these, if they're helping to build the troop agreements, yep, they're more likely to police themselves a little bit. And because it's rules that they have come up with themselves, and they're more likely to follow those rules and possibly help in a little bit of that policing. I believe Jamie just said the council is a great resource for talking to first for ideas before the parents, and that's exactly right. The council is here. Member support, troop support. It is also important to realize, though, that if something can be solved with just those involved, it is oftentimes a far better solution than getting more people involved. It may not always be able to happen, but if a group can come up with a solution by themselves, it seems a lot of times that the group is more happy with the solution before we have to step in and kind of lay down the law, so to speak. So that is all I had there.
But even along what Tyne said, even before you talk to the parents, you can always come to troop support just to get some ideas on maybe how to address that with the girls first. Maybe something happened at a meeting and you're like, oh, like, and you talk to the girls, but you wanted to maybe talk to the girls again before you talk to the parents. And so you can always come to troop support, and we can always, talk a plan out. And then, talk again to the girl. And then if behavior doesn't change, then talk to the parents and then go forward with that. But I think Jessica, were you typing something? Oh, maybe not.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
was just going to add that what I've done in my troop is allow them to come up with the agreement and then hold them, accountable for that. And what I introduced last year was doing 4-color system, as I do at the school that I work at. And so that seemed to help, because all I have to do is call out, like, right now we're starting off on a blue, now we're moving to a green, and they know when they get to certain colors what that means. And so, but usually I'm able to just, kind of get their attention, and they know, like, to shift the behavior. So I really haven't had anything in depth yet, but that color system seems to work really great for me.
Oh, that's great. So do you use like blue, green, orange, and red then?
Yeah, blue, green, yellow, and red.
Oh, yellow and red. Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Oh, very cool. And blue is probably the most calm, and then green is
Yeah, blue is more
that's
like, you're following directions, the expectations that we set for each meeting. Green is, well, you've had to, I may have had to give a reminder or two, but when we get to the behavior where it's disruptive, like I have 2 girls who would normally get to talking, while others are speaking, then I say it's a yellow. So that means it's time for me to, kind of step aside and think about my actions and then come up, with a different solution. And then red means that, we're talking to mom, and then you're going to have to, skip a meeting.
okay. No, that's actually I guess I've never used the color system, but that's a great way to do that.
And it works for all levels. So I have it from Daisy all the way up, all the way through cadet. And, more so I'm having to use it with the daisies and the brownies. I haven't, had to get into that maybe with a couple of, no, one cadet, but, when she, got used to the system, it's like now if she see herself, like she'll just see my face, or like I can give her some type of, look, or some type of gesture, and she'll know, like, okay, let me calm down, or let me regroup, or she'll excuse herself. So if they're if it's the girl that it's common behavior, then we've had to have a talk about that. And some of them I know are dealing with certain things, so I have a plan set for each girl, so they know, like, when they see me do certain things or mention certain things, then it's time to think about it.
Wow, that's great, Jessica. Thanks for sharing. Okay, any other sharing? Okay, so Tyne, I think we'll close on behavior management, and I think we'll have you remind them.
Okay, perfect. So, we talked about starting out the meeting with the Girl Scout promise in the law. Um, the Girl Scout promise in the law has been our thing for many, many years now. And I think that's kind of the basis of how we are expecting girls and adults in the roles that we have to act. So I think it's really just important that we remind the girls about that at every meeting, and not just, hey, it's time to say this again, but really take a few minutes to dive into a couple of lines, ask them if they still know what this is, or ask them if, hey, how would we, treat every Girl Scout? How would we be a sister to every Girl Scout? How are we responsible for what we say and do at this meeting? What does that look like? And I think if we're not only asking them to go through it, recite it, memorize it, but pick out pieces of it, that's going to help them understand how they need to behave, because that's what we're trying to teach them. We're trying to embody that within them so they can become their best selves. It's also important that if we have adults in volunteer roles, if we have adults helping out in the troop, anybody who's registered has to agree to that promise too. They have to agree to live by those rules and laws. And so I think it's very important to even bring that up with the adults that are around and with us, because sometimes everybody gets angry and gets upset, and we don't always remember how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to be. So I think just some simple reminders and diving back into it and not letting it just be another something that we go through the motions on is important. And that's all I have on that.
Okay, and then so ladies, we have just a reminder about the next town hall meeting. It'll be on October 3rd. The title is Programs and Passports. And actually just asking you from this evening, is there anything or anything that you want to see happen during that town hall regarding programs and passports? Just to ask for any ideas or what you think it might be about. Okay, no, I just wanted to ask if you had anything to share. Okay. Okay, well, that is it for this evening. We had a great talk. Special thanks to Rose and Wendy. And special thanks to Jamie, Jessica, and Brenda for being here on our first call of the year. So we really look forward to a great year with great talks. And actually, all of you have signed up for all of this year's meetings. So when Tyne was talking at the beginning of the talk, I wanted to chime in. They've all signed up for the whole year, and so
Thank you, ladies.
Yes. So we look forward to seeing you in October then. Everyone have a great evening. Oh, go ahead.
I have one last question. I'm sorry. The names that are displayed on here, are these the same first and last names that we have you as in Salesforce under like under your leaders, your leader files and things like that?
The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. Thank you. I wanted to ask because I think it's important that you guys get a little thank you for attending. So.
Yes, most definitely. Okay, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining. If troop support can just stay on really quick. And everyone have a great rest of the evening. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, so
And I need to
No.
stop recording. Hold on.
oh,
Time out. How do I stop recording? There we go. More recording. Stop recording.